soldiers as one of them is laid to rest. Showdown in Spain, the government now threatening to take over a region fighting for independence. $32 million deal, the huge reported settlement involving Bill O'Reilly and a woman who accused him of sexual harassment. Retirement at risk, the idea by some in Congress to drastically cut the tax breaks for your 401k contributions. The inspiring message of an Oscar-nominated film that resonated so strongly here, now moving women around the world. And Emoji Fight, the lengths to which some will go to get their little symbols on your screens.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. Anytime a member of the American Armed Forces dies during a mission, the nation mourns and wonders how it happened. Tonight, there are new questions about the final hours of 4 American soldiers killed in Niger earlier this month. A report in the New York Times today says the Pentagon's timeline, where the soldiers were ambushed after a planned visit to a village elder, might not be the entire story. They may have been pursuing insurgents in an unauthorized mission before the attack. NBC's Pentagon correspondent Hans Nichols brings us the latest.
Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson was laid to rest this morning near his home in Florida. Johnson, a 25-year-old father, was killed in an ambush in Niger earlier this month, along with 3 of his comrades. Today, new and conflicting accounts of what happened during the deadly mission. The New York Times reports that Nigerian military sources say the army convoy of both Nigerian and U.S. soldiers spotted and chased insurgents until they crossed into neighboring Mali. But the Times adds, citing U.S. military sources, the soldiers didn't mention giving chase and claimed they were ambushed and surrounded by insurgents outside a village, possibly tipped off by tribal leaders they were meeting. The Pentagon is trying to determine whether American forces involved in the ambush diverted from their routine patrol to embark on an unapproved mission. Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson was found nearly 1 mile from the ambush site. A signal from his beacon was tracked for several hours, fueling hope that Johnson was still alive. A senior congressional aide tells NBC News the ambush that killed the 4 Americans stemmed in part from a massive intelligence failure. Congress now demanding more information on counterterrorism missions across Africa.
You've got to have a balance here. You've got to keep us informed so we can make good decisions about, do we want 1,000 soldiers in Niger? And if we don't want them, the way to deal with it is to cut off funding.
There are roughly 800 U.S. military personnel in Niger, most building a new drone base which will serve as the drone hub across the continent. The commander of U.S. forces in Africa told Congress earlier this year he had only a quarter of the reconnaissance flights he needed, and that impacts the readiness of his Africa mission.
So the readiness of the airplanes has gotten better, but when you go from 12 to 6, the capacity is cut in half, and the impact is we've got to do a better job coordinating and sharing assets because the Africa's continent is extremely large. Yes.
The Senate Armed Services Committee is set to meet next week seeking answers to major questions about the attack, such as have the soldiers acted beyond their planned mission to pursue insurgents without first gaining approval? And if they were given permission, who granted it? Jose?
Hans Nichols, thank you very much. President Trump today said he does not plan to block the release of thousands of government documents related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The documents have never been seen by the public, and the president said that subject to the receipt of further information, he will allow the files to be opened. In 1992, Congress mandated that all the documents be released within 25 years. The deadline is this coming Thursday. Another former president, George W. Bush, was the subject of harsh words last night by Steve Bannon, the former White House chief strategist, who has declared war on the Republican establishment. Bannon's attack came in California at the state Republican Party's fall convention. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is at the White House. Now, Kelly, all places to criticize a former president, why would Steve Bannon attack President Bush in front of Republicans who likely voted for him twice?
Well, it really stands out, Jose. Steve Bannon calls himself President Trump's wingman outside of the White House, and he is intentionally lighting new political wildfires, not only challenging sitting Republican senators and party elites as out of touch, but calling George W. Bush's presidency more destructive than any other. Now, to understand why and why now, remember President Bush spoke out this week, not criticizing President Trump by name, but Mr. Bush denounced the brand of nationalism that Trump and Bannon support. And he cautioned against bigotry and the, quote, casual cruelty seen in politics today. Steve Bannon went off.
President Bush, to me, embarrassed himself. Speechwriter wrote a highfalutin speech. It's clear he didn't understand anything he was talking about, just like it was when he was president of the United States.
Bannon left the White House in August, but not the fight. This is about urging conservative voters to reject the establishment heading into the midterm races of 2018, where Bannon hopes nationalist-style conservatives come into power. While President Trump called Bannon a friend, he disagreed with that strategy to oust party incumbents, the very Republicans the president needs to pass any agenda, like his promised tax cuts. Jose?
Kelly O'Donnell at the White House. Thank you. Much more on this tomorrow on Meet the Press. Senators Chuck Schumer and Lindsey Graham will be among Chuck Todd's guests. Word tonight of another huge settlement involving sexual harassment allegations against former Fox News host Bill O'Reilly. A New York Times report, not verified by NBC News, goes into detail about a $32 million settlement with a longtime Fox analyst. NBC's Morgan Radford has details.
Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone.
Tonight, disgraced anchorman Bill O'Reilly is back in the news.
Tonight, I'm Bill O'Reilly.
According to a New York Times report, O'Reilly paid a $32 million settlement to Liz Weil, a former Fox News analyst, often seen on his top-rated primetime show.
She worked with me for 7 years on the talk radio.
The report alleges O'Reilly had a non-consensual sexual relationship with Weil, repeatedly harassed her, and sent her gay pornography. In a statement released today, Fox admits it knew there was a settlement in January, but was informed by Mr. O'Reilly that he had settled the matter personally, adding the terms were confidential and not disclosed to the company. 1 month later, Fox extended O'Reilly's 4-year contract for $25 million a year.
At the time Fox re-signed Mr. O'Reilly, it knew about the settlement and was also trying to make the argument to the public, its employees, and its board that it had cleaned up workplace issues that had arisen under Roger Ailes.
This was the 6th payout made by O'Reilly or Fox to settle allegations against him. The company says the anchor's latest contract included a clause saying it could fire him if other allegations came up, which, in the end, Fox says it acted on when he was ousted in April. O'Reilly continues to maintain his innocence. His attorney is calling today's report a smear campaign. Last month, O'Reilly spoke to Matt Lauer.
You said at the time you did absolutely nothing wrong.
Correct.
Do you stand by that?
I do. That I never mistreated anyone on my watch in 42 years.
We spoke earlier.
All right, so in his statement, O'Reilly's lawyer claims that the New York Times story ignored evidence taken under oath. He also says the reporting was based on unsubstantiated allegations, anonymous sources, and incomplete or even stolen documents. Jose?
Morgan Radford, thank you very much. Overseas, a deadly attack on the police today in Egypt. It happened southwest of Cairo as security forces moved against a militant hideout. Officials say the police may have fallen into a carefully planned ambush. They say at least 54 policemen were killed in the firefight. The government of Spain announcing a forceful crackdown in Catalonia today, trying to crush the independence movement in that region. Large crowds gathered tonight in Barcelona, Catalonia's capital, to protest the plans announced by Prime Minister of that country. This comes 3 weeks after a defiant referendum on independence. NBC's Lucy Kafanoff has the latest.
Catalonia's autonomy on the brink of being suspended for the first time in Spain's history. Hundreds of thousands protesting the never-before-used nuclear option, Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution, invoked today by Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy. His goal? To restore law and order to a region that has defied the Spanish state. With Senate approval, the central government could remove Catalonia's president and its government, take control of the police and local media, and order new elections. But demonstrators see it as a coup aimed at crushing their push for independence.
To sack a government that's been democratically elected is going to quite an extreme.
The Catalonian leader furious.
Democratically deciding the future of a nation is not a crime.
Earlier this month, Catalonia's voters turned out to cast their ballots in the unsanctioned independence referendum. The central government responded with force, breaking into polling stations to seize ballots. While Catalonia is split over the question of independence, tonight there's concern Madrid's strategy could backfire and make an already tense situation even worse. Lucy Kafanoff, NBC News.
Australia has called it unprecedented. An open letter from North Korea to the Parliament of Australia and other countries urging them to turn away from President Trump and UN sanctions imposed on its nuclear program. Australia has dismissed the letter as a rant. NBC's Keir Simmons is inside North Korea tonight and has more on all of this. Keir.
Jose, good evening. Tonight, what amounts to a tense standoff between North Korea, where I am now, and Washington. The North Korean foreign minister vowing that this country will continue its nuclear program, while joint exercises between the US and South Korea off the coast here just wrapped up. Exercises that the North Koreans consider an extreme provocation. We came here to try to assess the views of ordinary North Koreans. And while dissent is frowned upon here, what we found are many people who say they want peace but are ready for war, even a nuclear war with America. And this weekend, the nuclear rhetoric continues. The North Koreans writing to the Australians, complaining of the heinous and reckless approach of Donald Trump and saying that if there is an attempt to topple the North Korean leadership, it will lead to a nuclear disaster. The Australian Prime Minister saying it is the North Koreans who are threatening the stability of the world. Jose?
Keir Simmons in Pyongyang, thank you. More than 4 weeks after Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, most people are still without power. Water has been restored to almost 3/4 of the island. Some schools will be reopening next week. In the meantime, hundreds of children have moved to Florida, enrolling in and putting new pressures on schools there. NBC's Mariana Atencio reports from Orlando.
Ryan Leon's hopes for a normal 8th grade washed away with Hurricane Maria.
For the disaster in Puerto Rico, for the Hurricane Maria, they need to come here with me.
His mother, Lamaris, came to Florida 3 years ago to find a job during Puerto Rico's crippling debt crisis. Now Ryan and the rest of the family have joined her.
What do you need to feel better, to feel more at home here?
Una casa,
You want a house? ¿Qué más?
ir a la escuela y aprender el inglés.
You want to go to school, learn English.
Since the hurricane, more than 1,000 new students have enrolled in Orlando area schools, which have also hired more than 20 teachers from Puerto Rico.
We're trying to be welcoming. Actually, we have one of our teachers who actually secured a grant to provide uniforms.
Sonia Guzman took in 6 relatives from Puerto Rico.
Good morning.
For her niece Luna, the move means restarting 2nd grade in a new school.
She has to stay at school. I don't want her to lose a semester.
But Ryan isn't ready to take that step.
And now he worried for the language, for the situation, for bullying, for everything. It's hard.
She says she hopes you'll be able to enroll next week.
Do you feel like this is another storm, another struggle you're having to go through?
For these children and their families, a new uncertainty 1 month after the hurricane. Mariana Atencio, NBC News, Orlando, Florida.
Still ahead tonight, paying for tax cuts by limiting 401k contributions. Will the proposal put your retirement at risk? Also, the fight to put the lobster in what some consider its rightful place on our screens.
For the holidays, we get a gift from Mom and Dad.
And every year, we split it equally.
Except for one of us.
I write them a poem instead. And one for each of you, too.
Oh.
That's actually yours, that one, yeah.
Regardless, we're stuck with the bill.
Well, to many, words are the most valuable currency.
Well, last I checked, stores don't take words.
Some do.
Oh. Not everyone could be the poetic voice of a generation.
I know, right? Such a burden.
The Bank of America mobile banking app. The fast, secure, and simple way to send money.
Hi, Mr. Powers. Thanks for calling United Healthcare.
Hi, I need your help. I've been trying to find a knee specialist, but nobody has it opening for months.
Mr. Powers?
You can't always control your feelings.
Oh, I found one in-network next Tuesday.
But choosing United Healthcare can help you control your care. Thanks, Stephanie.
I see on our preventive checklist you're due for a colonoscopy. It's covered at no additional cost to you.
Great. No green. United Healthcare.
I can do more to lower my A1C.
And I can do it with what's already within me.
Because my body can still make its own insulin.
And once weekly Trulicity